So, welcome to Restorative Yoga for opening through the heart and hips today. I'm going to invite you to take a lovely, comfortable seat on your mat, and I'll head back to my mat as well. And any comfortable seat is a-okay today. So, you could be cross-legged if that feels good. Or you could have your legs long with a little bend in the knee. You could sit on a chair as well if that's more accessible and comfortable for the hips and low back today. If it is comfortable, yeah.
On the bolster.
Yes, I was going to say, if it is, you have that bolster handy. Feel free to grab.
I've never done yoga on my back before, so that's a new one.
Awesome. It'll be a whole outdoor restorative experience. It'll be beautiful. So yeah, if you have that bolster handy, feel free to sit on the bolster for extra comfort in the hips and low back. Feel a nice tall spine and soften the shoulders today. And let's just take a few deep breaths to begin. So inhale, breath here. Just a deep breath, maybe down into the belly, filling the lungs from bottom to top. And then exhale out of the mouth if that feels good. Inhale, breath, thinking about filling the lungs in 360 degrees, front, back, sides of the heart. Exhale out through the mouth, maybe a sigh, and soften to the shoulders. And maybe one more breath here. Just taking an intentional moment to transition from our day into our restorative practice. Let's take a few warm-up kind of gentle movements to maybe ease some tension out of the body today, and then we'll move into our restorative poses. So we'll start with a right ear to right shoulder, ear to shoulder, just a gentle tilt of the head. And then maybe gently rolling the chin toward the chest, easy roll. And then maybe a left ear to left shoulder, easy roll other side. And then inhale, chin to chest. Exhale, ear to shoulder. Inhale, gentle chin to chest. Exhale, ear to shoulder. And let's take one more neck roll here, side to side. Gently dropping the chin toward the chest if that feels comfortable, bringing the head center, and we'll roll the shoulders. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, back and down. Feel just an opening through the heart ear. Inhale, forward and up. Exhale, back and down. Maybe a couple more rolls of the shoulders. Big, slow shoulder rolls. Finding some deep breaths here as well, if that feels comfortable and accessible. And just softening the shoulders from the ears. Let's take a few more poses, so some twists and side bends. Inhale, we'll float the hands up as high as feels comfortable toward the sky. And we'll lean to the right first. So we'll drop the right arm and take a lean to the right. Try to keep both sit bones equally grounded to your bolster today. Inhale, the torso and fingertips stretch to the sky and center. Exhale, and we lean second side, lean away. Inhale, hands to the sky, torso center. Exhale, a side bend, just a gentle stretch of the day out of the spine. Inhale, fingertips skyward, torso center. Exhale, lean to the other side. Maybe a bend in that bottom elbow to support. Let's take one more to each side. Inhale, center. Exhale, in a supported side bend. And inhale, center, fingertips up toward the sky. Exhale, and side bend. Inhale, the fingertips to the sky, and we'll pause here. Pause here. So we'll take our right hand and rest it on our left leg, right hand to left leg, outside of the leg, top of the leg. And then the back hand floats down behind us, maybe to the bolster, to the earth, or to the waist. And gently roll your gaze over your back shoulder in a twist. So right hand to left leg. Our backhand floats toward the earth and we look over the back shoulder. Let's move out of that untwist and the hands float to the sky as high as feels comfortable. And now it's your left hand. The left hand comes down to the right leg, anywhere that's comfortable. Now our new backhand floats down toward the earth, perhaps resting on the bolster, waist, earth. And look over your back shoulder. An easy spinal twist today. A few deep breaths. Feeling some length in the spine and softness in the shoulders. And then an easy float back to center, fingertips skyward here. One last time. And exhale, stretch the hands down to the earth and just pause here. As we move into our 3 restorative poses today, I'll invite you to be really intentional about your transitions as well. So finding as much ease and softness in the body as you move between poses. It can be a really nice way to maintain that deep, relaxed state that we're looking for. So our first pose today is a restorative supported wide leg forward fold. So I'll invite you to actually sneak off your bolster today and bring it around in front of you. So the short edge is resting on the mat and it's kind of a nice tall bolster in front of you. And then you'll bring your legs out to a V shape. Now, in restorative yoga, we're not necessarily seeking a really deep stretch. It's more about finding a lot of ease in this pose. So just a comfortable V. It doesn't have to be really wide. Some folks even say that restorative should be a pose of no sensation, but sometimes a gentle stretch and opening can feel really restorative and good. So it's about finding what's right for your body today. So simple setup today with this wide leg forward fold. You might need to adjust the distance your bolster is from your body. You want to be able to tilt your bolster toward you, and so you can rest maybe your forehead or your forearms on the top of the bolster and rest your head. So you're feeling very supported. You might find you need to move the bolster further away from you if your bolster is quite long, or maybe closer to you if you feel like you need to sit up taller in this stretch. So I'll give you a moment to really just find a supportive position, whether it's the forearms layered on the bolster or the forehead resting on the bolster. Take a minute to adjust. Allow your legs to be really relaxed. Let your feet do whatever feels good for you. And notice the low back, especially in this pose. So if you're finding some strain or tension in the low back as you forward fold here, what I might invite you to do is roll up your mat or even sit on some yoga blocks to boost the hips. I happen to have a mat roll here that I can use, but you could also just take your mat and double it up 2 or 3 times. So your hips and low back are feeling really comfortable.
Okay.
And once we find that comfortable position, we're really just holding here. It's kind of a set it and forget it kind of experience. It's really about settling into the pose and really just sensing into that relaxation through the body. And I'll set a timer so we can stay on track today. We will be here for about 5 minutes in this pose. And I'll try to remind you about halfway through to check in with the breath and body and adjust anything if it is needed.
Okay.
So I'll invite you to settle in, find that comfortable, supported, wide leg forward fold today with as much ease as is possible. Sensing into the breath, into the sensations of the body. maybe the activity of the mind today, noticing what's there, what arises in the mind as you settle into this restorative pose. With the aim or the intention today to find as much ease in the body as is possible. Resting the head, the neck, shoulders, hips, legs. I also would like to invite you, if I know you do wear glasses, if taking your glasses off will feel more comfortable and restful, you certainly can take your glasses off. Or soften your gaze or close your eyes. All of those are options today to feel more restful and easy. So I will be silent now for just a couple of minutes to allow you to find some deeper rest and ease in this pose. I'll invite you now to bring some deeper inhales and exhales into the body. If your eyes are closed, you might gently blink the eyes open. And as I reminded you at the beginning of our practice, we want to make our transitions as easy and restful as possible. So perhaps sensing into the relaxation in the body wherever it may exist here. For one last breath or two. And then very gentle and very easy, walking yourself out of that forward fold. We're transitioning to our second pose today, which is a reclined twist. We'll start with the bolster maybe on one edge of our mats. I'm going to put it along the left side for me. And then I'm going to place my left hip by the end of the bolster in the bottom corner. We're setting up by bringing the legs pretty wide. My feet are grounded on the mat and my knees are bent. And then allow my knees to drop toward the earth. So now my torso is starting to roll toward my bolster. You might find you need to adjust how far away the bolster is from your body. Though you can start to drape your torso over the bolster and rest your cheek down on the bolster in a really rested, supported twist. And just like our other poses, we're really looking for a lot of comfort and rest. So you might need to adjust how bent your knees are, either more bent or less bent. How far apart your feet are, whether they're more close together or further away, as well as the distance the bolster is from your body as you begin to lie down. I'm going to ask you to take just a minute or two to find a restful side lying twist or recline twist here on your bolster. Just resting as much as is possible and finding as comfortable of a supported twist as you can today. And I'll once again set our timer for 5 minutes. During these 5 minutes, it's an invitation to really find what you need in the pose. Maybe it is a little more sensation, so you might adjust to find some more sensation in this twist. But I'll also invite you to seek more ease and comfort, support. Know that your body is doing its relaxation magic here, activating that parasympathetic nervous system, our rest and digest response. And if it is comfortable, you might remove your glasses if that feels good or better for laying on the bolster. It's an opportunity to make any adjustments you might need to feel really restful. And I'll be silent for just a few more minutes as we work to find greater rest in this pose. you found that your mind has wandered away, or you're noticing some sensation in the body and you might be able to adjust to feel more rested and easy, I'll invite you to make those adjustments now. One option that might feel good is you can take a block and prop up one or two ends of the bolster, especially if you feel like you're really reaching for the bolster. You can use a block on, a low or medium setting here to prop the bolster up a bit and bring the bolster up to you a little bit more. I'll be quiet for just another minute as we continue to sense into rest here. This easy release through the spine and supported twist. So I'll invite you to draw in some deeper inhales and exhales. Perhaps gently opening the eyes as we begin to transition to our second side. As we do so with a great deal of gentleness and ease through the body, just gently walking ourselves up to that seat once again. And now if you're seated on the mat, you can simply shift the bolster to the other edge of the mat. So if I was on the left side of my mat, I'm just going to bring my bolster over to the right side of my mat. And now take my other hip and sort of line it up with the bottom edge of the bolster here. And start with that setup where the knees are bent and the feet are grounded. And then roll the knees toward the floor in a gentle twist. And start to roll the torso toward the bolster to come down and hug the bolster, looking the opposite direction this time. So some things to consider from second side. Might be more comfortable to adjust the distance your feet or how bent your knees are. So maybe more or less bent through the knees can feel better. The feet closer together or wider apart might feel better for the body. We also talked about some options with the bolster. So it could be lying flat on the mat, or you could use a block or two to prop the bolster up. You could even do a full prop if you have a couple blocks, one block on the tallest setting and the other block on the medium height setting or lower setting. And that can really give you a tall bolster incline if that feels better for your body to experiment with. So I'll invite you to find a comfortable recline twist on your second side today. Resting the opposite cheek and hip toward the floor. Again, if it's comfortable to remove glasses or blink the eyes closed, I'll invite you to do so. And really seeking a lot of ease and release here. letting the body be supported by the props, by the earth. We'll be here in this pose for about 5 minutes, giving our body time to adjust and activate that relaxation response here on our second side. Invite you to use the breath to come back to the body if you find yourself wandering away on a thought today. It is in the nature of the mind to be active, and so this is to be expected. So as you notice you've been carried away, you might just come back to the breath, bringing awareness there, and then coming back to the body, noticing where you might find some greater ease or where you might already be experiencing ease. I'll be quiet for just another few minutes to allow to rest here in our second side supported twist. Oh, we'll be here just one more minute, enjoying the rest on our second side here in supported twist, reclined twist, and gentle opening, release in the spine and the hips. perhaps taking some deeper breaths here. If your eyes were closed, perhaps blinking the eyes open. And with a great deal of ease, you might gently start to walk yourself back up to a seat, preparing to transition to our final pose today. So I'll offer you a couple of options for our heart opening Shavasana or relaxation pose. So the first is with the bolster lying the long way across your mat. And you'll sit sort of on one hip to start, to walk yourself over the bolster and lie down on it, and then roll onto your back. So the idea here is that the bolster is supporting just at the bottom of the shoulder blades. And depending on your torso length and your bolster height, your head might not touch down on the ground. And so if that's the case, we might choose a different option. You really do want the back of the head to be resting so you're not stretching for the sky or for the earth with your head. And you do want your low back to be comfortable. Sometimes the height of the bolster can feel like too much stretch and opening through the heart and through the spine. So notice what this feels like. Is your head resting on the mat? Does your neck feel long? Is your low back comfortable here? If those three things are a yes, you might stay here in this option. And then you might bend your knees and put the feet flat on the mat. Bring your feet pretty wide, maybe to the edges of your mat, and then allow the knees to fall in toward each other. And this is so you don't feel like you have to hold up the weight of the legs in this pose. Now, if you answered no to any of those questions, I'll offer you a different option to try today. I'll invite you to really gently roll to one side if you'd like to try this other option. Roll to the side and then gently press yourself up. So second option to try today might be with the bolster the long way on your mat. And you sit with the sacrum, the back of the pelvis, right against the edge of your bolster. And then you very gently just walk yourself back onto the bolster. In this way, you want your head and neck supported on the bolster. And then you might choose to open the arms to sort of a cactus shape if that feels comfortable, with the elbows bent about 90 degrees. The hands could also be down by the sides in both pose options, or out in a T shape. So in both options, though, you do want the low back to be comfortable and the head and neck to be supported. So if you are choosing the second option, same legs, feet will be pretty wide, knees bent, and we'll allow the knees to fall in toward each other. I'll recap the arm options. I gave you a few. Arms could be out from the body in a T shape. This is a beautiful, gentle heart opening there. You could bend the elbows to about 90 degrees to a cactus arm shape, and that will add some additional heart opening. Or you could also stretch your arms down by your sides if that's accessible with your bolster position. So I'll invite you to take a few minutes to find the pose that really feels best for your body today, that feels the most restful, the most amount of ease. And again, you might choose to remove your glasses or blink your eyes closed, or even just soften your gaze. I'll set the timer for about 5 minutes for our last pose today. Sensing into just a gentle opening through the heart. Gentle stretch in the chest, perhaps little or no sensation there. supported and easy through the head and neck, low back. Seeking just as much ease as you can possibly find here in this pose. If you've been trying with the bolster and nothing is feeling comfortable, you can certainly take this same pose lying on your back without the bolster. Same position, just remove the bolster. This is particularly important if you're feeling strain in the low back. Just skip the bolster. You still get a beautiful heart opening option and a really restful position for the lower body. Be silent for just a few minutes as we continue our practice of rest and release here in our final heart opening relaxation pose. Continuing to use the breath to just gently scan the body and making adjustments as needed, though you're experiencing just as much comfort as possible. Going back to the breath as the mind wanders and carries you away. Breath as anchor here in our restful relaxation pose. If you're ready, you might begin to draw in some deeper inhales and exhales. Perhaps blinking the eyes open if your eyes were closed. And very gently, with a great deal of ease, I'll invite you to roll to one side. That might mean rolling off your bolster, or perhaps rolling to one side on your bolster, depending. You could also be rolling to one side on your mat today, depending on your choices. And then gently walk yourself up to that seat, keeping head, neck, body relaxed as possible. Just finding a tall, comfortable seat here. And you might choose to sit on your bolster to find more comfort in this seat. We'll close with just a couple of deep breaths, maybe 3 deep breaths. Feel some softness in your shoulders and lengthen your spine. Take a moment to use the breath to maybe scan the body and just notice anywhere you might be feeling more relaxation in body and in mind. And a big inhale breath in, perhaps an audible sigh out. Inhale breath. Exhale and a sigh out. Maybe one more breath that way. Inhale, breath in. Exhale, breath out. Thank you so much for taking time to practice restorative with me today. Taking time for your own well-being and balance. Thank you so much.